So, Lord, I just want to thank you. I want to bless your name, faithful God. Thanking you for holding us, even when we are not holding you as we ought to. Because the love that exists between us was initiated by you from the foundations of the earth. We didn't know you. We were a people that will be destroyed if you did not intervene. And so I rejoice that Jesus Christ came and died for us. But I'm asking that the fullness of his death and resurrection will become as important in our lives, even as we walk with you. That we will not be carried away by life and by living. But that each day, oh God, that you're giving to us to be on this earth, we will remember that there's a destination in you that we ought to live out for everyone to see. I give you praise for what you're about to do. For it's in Jesus' mighty name we have prayed and believed. Amen. So, yes, talk to me. Any development, any news from the last time? Any discoveries where you are or where you were with God? Irene is looking at me like she's full of revelations. So. Bring it on. Mm-hmm.
No, for me, I'm just, I'm in a place where I'm asking God about this country. And, in fact, today I was like, God, are you angry? Are you angry with us? Are you angry with us? Because I was just like, the locusts, injustice, everybody's just saying how hard. I mean, even right now, I was just from seeing my mom, and she was just telling me, this January, has been a very different kind of January for these people in business. So, and I'm just like, God, if you've done something wrong, please forgive us. That's my prayer.
Okay.
That the Lord just has His mercy on us as a country, and just shines His kadogo too, like a small His face.
I like your sincerity, but it's not going to work like that. It's never designed to work like that. Have you ever wondered why Jesus Christ prayed in John 17 and said, I do not pray for the world? Have you read it before? Why would Jesus not pray for the world?
Because He's praying for those who are His.
Sorry? Yes, I've heard you, yes.
No, sorry. The way I thought about it was, He has those believers He was called to, but also He knew what God intended for the world. So He's not praying without knowledge.
Okay, so what did God intend for the world?
No, He knew His purpose on earth, right? And He knew that not everybody would believe Him. He knew what His destiny for those who don't. So He can't pray. He's not praying a general prayer with understanding.
Okay, so where does that leave what Irene is saying about your country or our country or the world? Because your country is in the world, isn't it?
Yeah.
So where does that leave us?
It's normally interesting because when I read where the Bible talks of the last days and the things that will happen, sometimes I'm like,
So one day.
Oh, it's all one day she was being.
Yes.
I'm like, in the last days all these things will happen. So my prayer is for we Niwaweru to be preserved and to stand firm and for my faith to not fail, because I think for me I've accepted that there's just a way that things will just happen as the word of God has said.
You see, one of the challenges we face in Christianity is our inability to understand that what you see that you don't like in any system was actually left there by God. He could resolve it if that was what we need to do. Do you understand? So if He left it, why do you want to resolve it? Because the challenge in itself, quote unquote challenge, is supposed to produce God. But what we're saying is we should remove the challenge. The challenge is not good. We don't like it because it's not, for example, people don't have money. For example, people who don't have jobs. For example, the justice system we talked about, isn't it? For some reason, those situations and circumstances are robbing us of something. Peace of mind, right? Whatever that may be. And so what we approach God to do is say, God, this situation isn't good, at least from my perspective. Can you change it so that life can be this other thing, and then we move on? And I'm saying it doesn't work like that. Which is part of why we need to see as God sees. 2020 vision, okay? But say what you want to say before I go further.
No, so and this has been like my thinking around that is that I think we also become very emotional as Christians.
Yeah.
And then I remember, I think it's you said, in every situation God is speaking.
Yes.
So maybe ours is to ask, in the floods, in the locusts, what is he saying?
Exactly.
Then align. It's not binding everything.
Exactly. Now we can do business.
Yeah.
Once you start thinking like that, you're on the table with God to discuss. It's no longer change it, remove it, I don't like it. It is, what are you trying to say by allowing this situation or circumstance? And for each one, what he's saying, forget about locust, because that one is not even here in Nairobi, for example. It's in somewhere, okay? But in situations of life that we find ourselves individually, it then becomes our approach. Do you understand? So, interestingly, look at Genesis 12. Read from verse, I think, 10.
At that time, a severe famine struck the land of Canaan.
I like your version. It says a severe famine, right? Okay, struck Canaan.
The land of Canaan, forcing Abraham to go down to Egypt, where he lived as a foreigner. As he was approaching the border of Egypt, Abraham said to his wife,
Okay, we know the story. What I wanted to highlight is that there was famine, which forced him, your version says, to relocate to Egypt. Now, does anybody argue the fact that it was God who brought or allowed this famine? Is anybody arguing that? Here, I'm just talking here. Is anybody in doubt that it is God who orchestrated it? Okay. Is anybody in doubt that it is God who then sent him to Egypt or allowed him to go to Egypt? Anybody in doubt? Annette? No, don't agree with me or say what you want to say so we can discuss and I show you scripture. Is anybody in doubt? All right. So quickly go to chapter 26 of the same Genesis. Read from verse 1. Sorry?
Chapter 26.
Chapter
Chapter.
26.
A severe famine now struck the land,
Again. Continue.
as had happened before in Abraham's time.
Okay. Continue.
So Isaac moved to Gerar, where Abimelech, king of the Philistines, lived.
Yes.
The Lord appeared to Isaac and said,
And said what?
"Do not go
Do not go to.
Egypt,
So
but do as I tell you."
exactly. So why did Isaac want to go to Egypt? Because that's in our culture, our tradition. That's what our fathers did, and it makes sense that if there's no food where we are, we look for food where there is food, isn't it? And God shows up and say, "Do not." Meaning, number one, because I allowed your fathers to go does not mean you should go. Two, I have a solution. I saw the famine, and I know the famine cannot stop me if you allow me to come into the famine with you. That's how it works. Now, what if Isaac started by asking God, why was there famine? What am I supposed to do? That's what was expected. Now, God had to intervene in the case of Isaac, because if Isaac had gone to Egypt, contrary to God's expectation, something wrong, the devil will come in and mess you up. And then that's where we begin to fire prayers and shoot, climb the mountain, because now we're out of sync. It just takes a relationship that is available to hear what God wants per system. And though there is still famine, notice God is not going to change the famine. If you read further down, he says, you will then plant in this famine, and then you will reap 100%.
And he did.
And he did. Yes, dear.
No, I'm just thinking, it is possible that in that famine, or we can have a similar situation,
Yes.
but God is speaking something different
Yes,
for each one
yes,
of
yes,
us.
yes, yes. For some people, he will tell them, go to Egypt.
Yeah.
The key is to know what he expects from you.
And at this part, it's clear that it's not God who told him to go to it. He had decided.
Yeah,
himself.
you made up your mind, yes. He's the one that woke up and said, based on famine, it translates to we don't have food or water or sustenance, therefore I will do A, B, C, D.
And he should, sorry to
Yes, no problem.
Then David was such a person who would ask God, do I do this?
Exactly. I'm saying
Can I-
that's it. That's the point. That as Christians, we must develop the mentality that enables us to ask questions first about should we do this? Because in the physical, this is what I see, this is how I feel, but I know you have a perspective different from what I'm feeling or thinking. So that's relationship. And you may do it first time, it doesn't work, or he doesn't say anything. Doesn't mean you should stop doing it like that. That should be your default thinking. As you keep pushing God to say, to speak, to show you, while you're moving on, okay, you come to work, doing what you're supposed to do, but you're saying, Lord, with these issues, and I've told you before, practice with the things that don't matter. Like going to fix your hair, like, small things. Like what you're going to wear, which is why I said what I said earlier on, which I will not go into details because you've refused to ask God, but it's okay. No. I'm just saying. If you practice with that, suddenly I will walk into a room or I'm watching TV and God says, you see this one, this is what I'm intending for him or her. Pray about him or her like this. You see this one, despite this shouting, it's over. It's not going anywhere. Like that. And I don't have to contact them, talk to them, know them. It's not important. It's me and my God dealing. There's a place like that. It's not reserved for pastors. I had it like this said, and I said, is it possible? I start pushing my own. That's how you have to own it, make it yours. Are we together so far?
Yes.
Because you see, like Amos said, 3:3, two cannot walk together except there's an agreement. But in that two cannot walk together except there's an agreement. Hello, we're dealing with God here. So it is us who need to agree with God, not the other way around.
But I think it's the relationship part we are missing because
That's the foundation of everything.
as we are after the gifts.
That's what I'm saying. Things for God, do this, change this, do this. Once you do this, my life is good. No. What you're fighting for is to maintain relationship. Relationship is what uprooted me from Nigeria and relocated me to Nairobi. Relationship. Without knowing what will happen to me, I still don't know what is going to happen to me or how it's going to happen. It's not important. But I know that as long as I'm in His will, I'm okay.
So, Pastor, does that also mean that we should reach a point where you can pray for the whole day and your only prayer point is, I want to know you more?
Yeah. And the dimensions of how you want to know Him more.
Just that.
Just that. In fact, not just a day, the whole of your life. Because it will bring you to a conclusion. Read for me Ephesians 3. Read from verse 1. Is Olwande still there? She disappeared from the video and now I'm seeing her beautiful picture. Olwande.
Lisa, say something.
I think she got into a meeting. Yes. Read for me. Ephesians 3.
For this reason, I, Paul, the prisoner of Christ Jesus, for the sake of you Gentiles, surely
He says he's what? What did he describe himself as?
prisoner
A
of
prisoner.
Christ Jesus.
So how does a man get to the place where he becomes a prisoner of Christ? See what I mean? It's not just, I want to know you one day on a Good Friday or when you go to the mountain. He so want to know him, he declares himself a prisoner for Christ. Now, what's the description of a prison? In a nutshell, how would you describe a prison?
Yeah, you're
Confined.
You are restricted.
Yes.
You only do what
Your food is measured, your shower is measured, your friends are measured, your will is measured.
exactly happened.
Okay, now you're getting it.
Yeah. Oh my.
So when are we going to get there is the question.
when we are ready to lose everything we have.
Today.
And it doesn't happen because pastor preached a nice message and it feels good. There is investment on your part to be made, beginning on how you think and what you think and how long you think it. Look at how sharp everybody's looking. Look at how sharp. Except for me, who is not looking very sharp. But look at you guys. Just look at you guys. Anybody slept like this, woke up like this with the uniform, whatever we're wearing?
But it still slept sharp.
You see, thought went into it,
Yeah.
desire went into it, expectation went into it. Okay? That's how it works. Same with working with God. It's deliberate, it's intentional. Okay? There is effort to it.
Is there a shortcut?
Well, you guys should answer your colleague here.
Yes.
To that.
Now, the dangerous part of this thing that I'm saying is this. If you are not actively gathering with him, you are effectively scattering. In other words, there's no middle ground. You know what is called mark time? In God, there's no mark time. You see that one step ahead? Every single time. That's why I taught you a while back that in Matthew 7 from 13, where he says, okay, maybe you should read it, so I don't just paraphrase. Matthew 7 from 13. I think it's 13 and 14. Yes, Winnie, I like it when you're smiling like that.
It's the word scatter.
No, that's what Jesus said.
And then
If you're not gathering with me,
yeah.
you're scattering.
So, and the way I put so much effort in what I do, so I'm just thinking what a waste,
You see?
maybe
Yeah,
scattering.
yeah.
Wow.
Imagine if Isaac traveled to Egypt. Do you know how much he needed to travel to get to Egypt? With the horses, donkeys, servants, what? It's a waste of time. Read.
Enter through the narrow gate,
Huh.
for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction,
You see that?
and many enter through it.
Continue.
But small is the gate and narrow is the road that leads to life, and only a few find it.
Right, so the question I asked when I taught this a while back is, where is this gate? Because obviously we're describing gate. One is wide, one is narrow. Where is the gate? Sorry?
It's in our everyday.
Exactly. Everything you ever did, you just crossed the gate. Every single thing you ever did, you crossed the gate. Question is it the gate of life? Or is it the gate that leads to destruction? What are the positions you hold on to in life? We discussed the last time Winnie was kind enough to share one of her positions with us. For those of us who were not there, you need to pay up in tithe and offering so we can discuss that.
The bishop,
Okay?
my position.
You were there.
I was there.
You forgot.
No.
Oh, okay.
I am waiting
Yeah.
to share mine today.
Oh, okay. All right, bring it on.
I realized that by the grace of God, I have had a very pleasant life and let's say, not just career ladder, let me say financial ladder.
Yes.
Yeah. Unexpected, constant, sometimes abnormal,
Yes.
but very good by the grace of God.
Yes.
But I feel this money is keeping me away from God
Hmm.
in a way, in terms of what do I say? It has created a certain dependency that I don't think I can live without money.
Mhm.
And so that is what I feel God is asking. He's not telling me sell your car and
Yeah,
house
yes,
and everything.
yes.
He's not saying that.
Yes.
But the level my heart is attached to the normal, I go to work,
Yes,
I leave,
yes.
maybe I start a business, I
Yes.
do what.
Yes.
It's like there's a mentality for I may lack,
Yes.
so I am doing my best
Not
in
to
terms
lack.
of sustaining myself,
Yes.
if there's a word like that.
Yes.
And so that means that sometimes even for assignments, let me say kingdom assignments.
Yes.
Okay, anyway, everything is kingdom
Yes.
assignments. But for assignments, you sort of you take it through the sieve of is my sustainability going to be
Exactly.
guaranteed financially?
Exactly.
No? Okay. Let's try and do it with what I'm already doing.
Yes.
So that
You
it
don't
is
touch
secure.
this side.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
I hear you. It's a dangerous place to be, but it's good that you highlighted it for yourself. Because the intention of God, remember, let's go back to Isaac to try and explain your situation. At the time, God is saying to Isaac, don't go to Egypt, plant in the land. There is already drought, famine, right?
Yeah.
And all the things that come with it. So if he was going to sow, he was going to actually sow his reserve. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Because remember, it's not surplus. We're not dealing with surplus. We're dealing with lack everywhere, which is what prompted him to go look for addition to what he has. But God says, don't go, plant in the land. I'm saying, for him to exercise that instruction, he needs to reach, what's the word? Beyond. He needs to, let's say, he planned dinner or lunch with his family today, tomorrow. He needs to, at some point, take those things and plant it, trusting that God knows what he's doing. Do you understand? So that's how to deal with it. That, are you in doubt that God is faithful? Are you in doubt that he that began a good work in you will complete it? Are you in doubt that if he says something and it's him you're following, then he knows what he's doing? Meaning, we don't have to have it all figured out for us to launch into the deep. Because, especially if he is the one highlighting this issue for you, you have to then go around it, though, like you said, without selling all your possession, but to the point that if he says give it up, you can actually give it.
Yeah.
And this is how I live on a daily basis, and I don't mean to belabor anybody or say that I am better than anybody, but that's how I live on a daily basis. That I find myself, last Saturday I was in a meeting in Gashia, and in the meeting, as I was speaking like this, somebody there was not feeling well. So I said, are you okay? This person said, no, I'm not okay, I'm just feeling pain, what. And we prayed. I stopped the meeting, I prayed for this person. I finished the meeting. As usual, I don't have a dime. I don't walk around with money. I don't have so much, but I'm satisfied. I'm okay. Finished the meeting. I'm actually then dropping this person. And I said, what's the problem? He says, oh, something that has been there, whatever. I'm actually on medication for it. My medication finished today. I need medication for the next week, this 1 week, starting tomorrow. Medication for the week is 4,500. I don't have a dime. So I said, okay, I've prayed. We're going. I get home, the people in the meeting sent me 5K. So I remembered this person has this need. And she has a job. She's not begging or whatever. She has a job, just that she doesn't have money right now. So I said, did you manage to get the medicine? She said, no, that's okay. I'm sending you that amount you talked about now. So out of the 500, I said 4,700. In the meantime, my fuel is on flash. I owe my fruit woman some 9K something, even as I speak. It doesn't stop my life. Because in my head, part of what I'm trying to do is not to get to this place where you are.
Yeah.
I'm consistently saying, if God, when I look back and I see his mercy and his love and his consistency, the future is secure. I don't have to figure it out. I don't have to know what he's going to do or how he's going to do it. I just know if he brought me this far, I can trust his future.
And to be honest, I think the money part, the what are they called? It's actually a big issue.
Oh yeah.
But then also, I was being challenged that what we own as believers, it's not yours.
That's the mentality they want. So that if he says, give it up,
You're just,
you give it up.
Yeah, you're just a custodian.
Yeah.
You just wait, and that's
Yeah.
exactly what I see for
Yeah.
you. It's like you've received, but
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
yours. If you're given the next instruction.
The vehicle that I drive now, you guys have seen it, yeah? My vehicle, right?
Sorry, yes.
Yeah. The vehicle I drive now, the value, at least to insurance guys, is 1.7 million. It was given to me by a couple that the husband is the only one working. The woman doesn't work, doesn't have a job. She's looking for a job. And it's her car. And God said to them, give it to Pastor Tony. And both of them as a couple agreed, and they gave it to me. Even if they sold it, they could have recovered at least 1.5 and done something with it. But God says they give.
And the same, I think 2 weeks after you got that car,
Yes.
my pastor got a car.
Yes.
And my pastor has given out, he doesn't own a car.
Yeah.
Every time he gets, God tells him,
Give.
to them.
Yeah.
So one day, and these were random people, they don't even come to our church.
Yes.
They said they got instructions
Yeah.
to give him a big car.
Yeah.
But then he said, I am happy to have it, but if I'm given instructions,
Yeah, you give it. I told these guys when they gave it to me, and this is on record, remember? We're recording. I told them after they gave it to me, I had a meeting in their house. I said, they wanted to change the name details to mine. I said, no, hold on, there's no hurry. Perhaps you will hear to take it back. It's here, it's available. Take it. I can't be stopped by a car. What's that? Means nothing. God said we walk, we walk. The thing that gives me life is, am I in the place he wants me to be? I have life. If he wants me to be in the prison, then I have life there.
And-
That's how it works.
But then, when I was thinking that, I realized that's why a lot of us are in situations we don't like.
Yeah.
You're in a job you hate it.
Yeah.
You're in,
You walk and have nothing to show for it. Nothing. It's true.
God provides for
it's
those
more
It's true.
Yes, yes,
It's
yes.
true. And it doesn't mean all of us should resign our job and leave our work. That's not what I'm preaching. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, while you're there, you think of yourself as the custodian of the kingdom of God. Every move you make, every single move. There's something I was about to say about the people who gave me this car that is about to happen. Let me wait until it happens. I will also tell you. So I don't just run ahead of mine. But you remember I said so. The people that gave me the car. See what God has. A door is open before them now. It's coming. I will tell you. I just don't want to say it now. But it's coming. My point being, there is no loss in God. If you're truly in God. Not one. The day they put you on the cross and nail you, that's the day you actually enter the real deal. It says, if the princes of this earth had known, they would not have tried it.
yeah.
But that's the day they're saying, once we finish this guy here, it's over. So that's how it works. See what God managed to do. I told you he's a tripartite God, which means he's in yesterday, in equal measures, like today, and in tomorrow, at the same time. What insurance do you need? Do you understand? He's in yesterday as much as he's in today, as much as tomorrow, all at the same time. So, the devil, anything he likes to do, God has covered all the grounds. He's just waiting for us to cross that boundary of fear, of doubt, of care, of worries. Yesterday night, I went to bed. As usual, this is January. I have bills to pay. Okay? My electricity, at least the ones that I can pay. It's lined up. Remember, I'm giving. and I don't have. I went to bed. I went to bed about 9:15 because I take my son to bed, and then we sleep. The next time I'm waking up, it's about a few minutes after 1. So I started praying. I'm dealing with the things that he's bringing my way, usually people. Okay? I pray for you guys, I pray for the other people, I pray for things he wants me to do, all that order. I finish. I pick my phone and I check. Let's say my bill is 20K. Let's say my bill is 20K. I had maybe triple that on my phone while I'm sleeping. And they were sent to me after 12 a.m. After. Whoever. This morning, I've resolved my electricity, I've done what, I'm back to zero, I'm moving on. Yesterday, I finished meeting somewhere. Somebody started following me. Said, boss, where are you? So, no, Pastor, I wanted to follow you. Let's go to where you parked. I said, oh, that's the car. Okay, let's enter. We enter. I said, where are you going to? He said, no, I know. He has a car. What? We said, no, let's go. Let's just go. See, there's a petrol station here. Yeah, fill my tank. I came back, dropped him to the meeting place, and I walked away. Is it okay if I had all the millions? Is it not fuel that I would buy? Yes. It's true now. Yeah. Simple. I'm back to zero again. We're moving on. It's so powerful.
I was gonna ask you.
Yes.
Because you weren't like that. You got there.
No, yeah, it's training. That's what I'm telling you.
For me, I mean, one of the things I worry. For me, I don't worry about finances, but the other things I worry. You know the way is everybody has their weak point that they worry about, and I just want to understand how you moved from the point where you're worrying and where you released.
Okay, I've said before. Do you know that the point you worry is the point of your meditation? The same place you worry inside of you is the same place you were gifted by God for meditation. So let's say you're worried about this glass, right? Irene is worried about this glass. So let's say it's when you see the glass that you worry, or when you don't see the glass that you worry, but the subject of your worry is the glass. So the glass comes into your heart. You say, Lord, this glass is now in my mind again. And every time this glass comes up in my mind, I begin to think and forget that you are not there, or you don't know what you're doing. But I want to reaffirm, even as this glass is coming up in my mind, that 1, you are my God. 2, that I will not worry about this glass because I have given it to you. See? Every single time the glass comes up in your mind, that's what you do. That's all. You reinforce the side of God. Because if this glass is coming up in my head, it simply means there's a plan in God's mind, which I may not know now. I'm still praying. But I'm giving it to you. And I'm saying, Lord, this glass is yours. And it can come up 1 billion times in a day. That's what you do. After a while, you will not remember the glass anymore. After a while, if you continue like that, because the devil is trying to, okay, read for me 2 Corinthians 10, one of my favorite scriptures. Read from verse number 4. I'm coming to you, my bro. Okay? Yes. 2 Corinthians 10, read from 4.
For the weapons of our warfare are not of the flesh,
Yes.
but mighty before God,
Okay.
to the casting down of strongholds.
You see that? What's the stronghold?
I continue, okay? Casting down imagination.
So the stronghold is the imagination, the worry.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Every high thing that is exalted against the knowledge.
So every time you're worrying about it, it's trying to exalt itself above the knowledge of God that you say you have. So you're bringing down the argument and the stronghold by reinforcing God. Do you understand? All of that is happening inside of you. Yes, my dear.
Is the stronghold the position?
Yes. Stronghold is the position. It's true. That's why it's dangerous. Once you take a position. Okay, so Isaac says, I must go to Egypt. I must go to Egypt. Why? Our food is diminishing and depleting. I have children, I have servants. I need to. You see, there's drought. I must go to Egypt. And then he begins to make arrangement.
Maybe some animals have died.
So maybe some animals have died. Maybe there's locust around his house. All that is trying to push you to take a position which then becomes a stronghold. But if you know your God, then you say, but there must be something God is saying or doing about this situation. After all, he knew me from my mother's womb. After all, there's a plan over my life. After all, like in the case of Cornelius, he sent an angel to his house, which means he knows where I dwell. So there must be a plan. Then you're reinforcing the knowledge of God. And then the stronghold will not have a choice.
Amen.
Because remember the first verse she read, it says, we have a weapon. That's your weapon. Your weapon is enforcing God's position. Especially if God has told you about the position. Now you have like ballistic missile. If God has told you, like Isaac again, God tells him, don't go to Egypt, stay in the land. So yours is not going to say, well, how are we going to resolve it? But you know there's no food. You said stay in the land, so there must be a plan. I'm available, Lord, show me how this is going to happen. That's it. You go to sleep. Even if you don't plant anything, God will cause the thing to grow around you and bear fruit. Because he said so.
So you do worry.
Sorry?
You worry.
Yeah, I worry about the stupidity of men.
So why don't you take rest?
No. I'm just giving you an example. I worry about what bothers me. If I have sleepless nights, it's about position that men take without understanding. Desires that men have that is neither going neither here nor there. And you can have it for 5,000 years. It's not going to shift.
So you don't worry about you have a son, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
No. Why should I worry? What's the worry about? Like now, he's finishing primary school. And he's going to secondary. Sorry, he's finishing. Amen. He's finishing. Yeah, I like the laughter. It means you're listening. He's finishing kindergarten. He's going to primary by next year. So, the natural instinct for parents is, my wife and I, okay, which school do we want? That's normal conversation. But he shouldn't give me sleepless night. You know how I think about it in my personal heart with God. Listen, some of us went to school. I don't know how to describe it for you. You know the school, grandma just wants you out of the house just so that she can concentrate and work. Do some chores and do some. So he said, go to school. That's the sort of school we went to. And we came out to be something. How much more? Yes, how much more these ones that are now born in the city. The sum total of my son's school fees till date, just 3 years ago he started. The amount of school fees is now paid for every school that I went. do you understand? No, it's true. It's true. As we speak, he is 5. 5. There's nothing he cannot read. I don't remember when I started reading. I know in primary, when I'm leaving primary, we're reading, the books, the stories. But if you told me to point out what you just read, I may not necessarily. I'm not joking.
No, it's true.
By the way, he will ask you intelligent questions. He will tell you things. Like yesterday, we were doing assignment, and I'll show you the video after this. And I was showing they're doing writing. They gave them assignment to make sentences starting with I. So we discussed it. So he came up with I am a boy. So I wrote it down because now that's where the level is. So he will copy it to his book. Okay? So he tells me, there's no date. Normally you should start with date. Because that's what our teacher said. I said, okay, put your date. And then as he's writing, to give space, and I was shocked because nobody ever showed me that in my whole life. If you write I, you put your finger like this. That's the space. Then you write here. I thought, wow. This is school. Now this is school. Do you understand? Yeah. So I'm thinking, why wouldn't he turn out the way God wants? In any case, I told you when he was born, he had colic. Okay? Which means he was crying from 11 p.m. every night till 3 a.m. So I tried it a few days and I was tired. Mom is sleeping. Me, I'm tired. Just trying to rock him. And God said, pray, begin to speak the things I told you concerning this man. And I began to pray for him. To the extent that God shows a vision to another woman while I'm praying for my son. and tells her, why are you not praying for your son? Look at what your pastor is doing for his son. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, based on what God has told me about him and his generation, I don't care which school he is going or don't go. He will turn out the way God wants. Period. He doesn't even have to pray one day.
Did the colleague stop? I'm curious.
Of course.
By now, yes.
Of course.
No,
Of course. Yeah, of course.
One of the challenges I've got is because even our children,
Yes.
other than money,
Yes.
we take our children and our husbands as our own
Yeah.
possession, but they are not. We are
No.
still custodians of
Yes.
that.
Children are an arrow shot from God.
Yeah.
That's what the scripture says.
Yeah.
There's a target when he shot them. So yours is to say, and that's why I've met parents who are saying, my child must be this, my child must be that. And listen, my son likes to firemen. He says he wants to be a fireman. I say, bless you, my son, because now you're going to be the one that the world is looking for to quench fires, physical, spiritual, all the fires. See what I mean? I don't care. You're going to be a policeman, you want to be a cook, a photographer, everything is on the table for you. When you decide, mine is that as a father, you will not end up anywhere else other than where God has determined for you.
Pastor.
It's simple as that.
So, I'm in Kangemi. I have children I cannot afford, like, let's say, inside the
Yes,
slum.
yes,
I'm struggling with my children.
yes.
And I mean, I can barely afford basics.
I
And of
know,
course,
I
as a
know.
mother,
Yes.
I mean, that's my number one concern.
Yes.
So then what is the answer for me? Because
Same process. How did I get to Kangemi? How did I get to these children and I'm struggling?
is it
How?
possible that God has made me remain there for a
Yes,
reason?
yes.
And
Kangemi,
suffer.
Kangemi needs saving too. The slums need saving. Needs light.
And struggle.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Did you notice that Christ, when they went to present him in the temple, the gifts they had, if you read it up in Deuteronomy, the gifts they brought to dedicate Christ was, if you are poor, this is what you bring.
Yeah.
Hey, they were poor people. Forget this one they're telling us now. Prosperity preachers telling us that Christ was a zillionaire in his day. They were poor. They brought, I think, a pigeon or a turtle dove, something.
Just die.
Yeah. For poor people, that's what you bring. For rich people, there's another definition of what they bring. Yeah. So it's not different. Yeah. It's your ability to draw down God in the situation that changes it.
So
Which is why our prince friend left all the zillions in pound shilling and relocated. That's our prince. Because it's not the pound that is the problem. You see, there's something that is missing. And if I had opportunity to tell him, I would tell him, bros, it is Jesus Christ. It's just that you can't place your hand. You think it's this thing you're running around. It's true. Because he will discover very quickly that his life will not still be settled. I don't care where he's hiding. In fact, now photographers are seeking out to want to know what's up more than before. It's true. Now that he says he can do without these people, they're after him. So his life is going to get more miserable. But my point is, it's not the position that you have, physically speaking, that secures you. In fact, I was telling that group on Saturday, and I said to them, a man cannot live more than the days of his purpose on this earth. What keeps you alive is not the exercise that you do every morning. Have you noticed the way life is going now? Even they introduce yoga and Christians are doing it. All is to make you live 590 years. Have you seen a guy that is 100 years old? Did you check your guy who was 100 years old? He's, I'm not calling any name, I'm just saying. Okay? He can't barely move.
With all the money
Yeah.
and fame and
My point is, the reason for your life must be that you've discovered that there's a reason to live for God other than the reason you are currently living. Because let's say you gather all these things that you think you want to acquire. Like our friend who was the head of the telephone, whatever. If they gave him the opportunity to give all his dime in exchange for his life, he will give it.
telephone.
Don't worry, find out later. Okay?
Thank you.
The parables.
Yeah. Because some people will get offended and what.
Yeah.
I think
Yes, dear.
what you mentioned about that point of surrender, where you've agreed that whatever you own and everything belongs to God.
Yes.
I think that's the ultimate. That's where we should be aiming to head there.
Yes.
Because at some point, God might pass you through fire for you to get to that point.
Yes.
At some point, why I asked about shortcut is because we know what we need to do. I know what I need to do.
Yes. So the next thing for you is to begin to pray about, Lord, I know what to do, but for some reason I can't do it. Help me to do it. See?
Amen.
That's it. Because everything is prayable. Everything is presentable to God. Okay, weaknesses, knowing what to do and not doing it. All that. And I'm saying that's the most important prayer. As opposed to this thing. Imagine you know what to do and you're not doing it. But you're approaching God and say, Lord, change that one. Confirm this one. Make this one happen. And he's wondering, boss. That's why Martha came to Jesus and said, but I'm cooking for you. We're all going to eat the food. Jesus says, it's not important. The important one, Mary has it, that's one. But two, you are bothered about many other things that you are not even telling me. And I know about them. But now you think it's your sister that is the problem. That's what Jesus was basically saying to you. See? So begin prayer point. Whatever you find an issue, that's the first thing we are resolving. So Winnie, you know your prayer point now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Lord, how did I get to this place where I find security in these things instead of in you?
Amen.
Because if God wants to strip you of it, 5 seconds flat, it's over. I tell people, there's somebody who told me recently, these things are dangerous, but anyway. They find money to indulge in certain things that they do. Right? I even send them money. Me. Because God said, send them money. And they use the money to indulge in stuff. But when they have money, they even indulge more. So I'm asking God, these dynamics, how does it even go? And he's telling me, God is telling me, if only they can send you that money, that indulgence will not be there. Let's say you like buying flasks or shopping. You know, some people just collect. But if you were engaging God, and you know it's a problem for you, if you engage God, God will tell you, instead of indulging, you know what this is going to cost you. Send it to Pastor Tony. Now, yes. Yes, okay. All right. So we'll finish now. Just let them 1 minute.
Find another room. I wanted to find another room.
It's up to you guys. I
Because
don't know.
we wouldn't be able to pray.